Hello everybody, this is GW of Doctor Who back with another video. My first video on my new channel to be exact, and as of recording this video I've actually not created my update video yet, so technically this is the first video of the sort of revived channel, if you can call it that. I'll get into a bunch of detail about what happened to my old channel in the update video, but I thought to kick off this new era of my sort of YouTube career, if you can call it that, I thought I'd start off with a video which I was never able to produce, and it is the Doctor Who book collection, which was a big major part of my old channel. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through all of the books, give a brief detail, maybe a bit of a backstory behind all of them, talk about the ones that I've read in the past as well, and yeah, I've got a few rare ones in this. It's quite a, I mean, compared to some other people, it's quite a average size collection, but yeah, like I said, I've got some big names in there. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So starting off not at the beginning, in fact, but at Doctor Who's first Dalek story with Doctor Who and the Daleks, and it is not focusing very well. There we go. The Blue Spine edition. Here, getting caught up, is the third story from Doctor Who and William Hartnell's first reign. First season is the Edge of Destruction, which I've actually never taken out of its sleeve, I don't believe. Marco Polo. The Keys of Marinus, which is rather battered, but still, I think I got that for £1.50. Just take that out. Planet of Giants, which was one of my favourite reads. Actually, I think I read this in about, was it like an hour and 20? Yeah, it was such a bite-sized target book, and it's one of my favourite, if not my favourite, William Hartnell stories. Ooh, a big rare one coming up here, The Rescue, which I did read as well, which was a really good read. Actually, I really enjoyed The Rescue, and as a target, I believe it's the second rarest paperback you can get, so really happy to own this in the collection. This was sort of like my first sort of, not my first rare book, but sort of like my first leap towards before getting the Champion, which I'll get onto later on in the video. But yeah, really happy to own this book, which I was after for a while. A particular edition I was after for a while, Doctor Who and the Crusaders by David Whittaker, which I really must give a read because I am a big fan of the TV story. I haven't seen it in a while, whatever you consider to be seen, the 2 surviving episodes in the recon. But yeah, really good one. I'm intrigued to read it. Galaxy 4, my first read of when I started getting into the target books, and it was a brilliant novel. I really did enjoy that one. The Massacre, or as people prefer it, as I prefer it, The Massacre of St. Bartholomew's Eve, which is again a Blue Spine book. Very intrigued to read all of the historical stories, because I'm a big fan of the missing historical stories especially, and I'm desperate to pick up The Mythmakers, if I'll ever get that. Speaking of which, The Smugglers, yeah, I've always had a soft spot for this story. Probably give it like a 9 out of 10. The TV story, I really wish they'd animate this one. It's just such an underrated gem. Again, this probably was, before I watched Planet of Giants, this was my favourite Hartnell story. And the book is really quite rare, and I would love to get the Blue Spine. It's no difference other than the reprint, sort of like Sylvester McCoy, the Virgin logo, smaller, but yeah, this was a really good read. Very happy to own it. Was after it for quite a while, and I got it for like a really good price. Another book I was after for a while, 10th Planet, which I read as the sort of BBC reprint they did, sort of around like 2010. I think that's when they did it. Yeah, pretty good read. What a pretty good Hartnell story. Unfortunately, I don't own Power of the Daleks. Again, that's one which I I really want to get that one. It's really rare, but yeah. So we start with his second story, The Highlanders, which is the introduction of my favourite Doctor Who companion, Jamie McCrimmon. Yeah, really good condition. Again, it's in its sleeve, so nice and protected. Underwater Menace, possibly my ultimate guilty pleasure, because this is one of my favourite Troughton stories. Troughton is my favourite Doctor, and this is just such an underrated gem. I love the Underwater Menace so much, and this was a brilliant read. I love that one. Two editions here of Doctor Who and the Cybermen, or as it's better known as the Moonbase. Was so pleased to find this in a charity shop with a bunch of other books. I was so happy to find this because this was the edition I wanted. Even though it's the wrong Cybermen technically, because they sort of got the teardrop eyes from the Wheel in Space. Not the tongue bit, but only the eyes. But, oh god, I just love it. And the book, it's such a brilliant read on another one of my fairly favourite Troughton stories. Well, at least Cybermen stories. Don't know about Troughton stories. Oh, another one which I was after for quite a while. I wanted to get most of my favourite Doctor Who stories in book edition, which was, and of course the ones I liked have to be really rare, but I did eventually pick it up, the Macra Terror. Just brilliant. Ian Stuart Black knows how to give this story atmosphere. It works so well on audio, on recon, the animation's amazing, and this book is incredible with one of my favourite covers, which I should probably make a video about my favourite Target book covers. Let me know if you want me to do a video about that. Faceless Ones, which, I don't know, I think I've always had a bit of a struggle with this one. Don't know why. It's an alright book. It's not one of Terrence Dick's best. I have read it. Enemy of the World, I have the two editions here. I've got the normal and the blue spine, which I'm going to be honest isn't one of my personal favourite Target books, because when I read it, I don't know, because I love Ian Marter's writing, definitely. Like, he really shined in the Rescue, I thought. He did a really good job on the Rescue, but this was my first Ian Marter book that I read, and it was not a really good start to kick off his reign, because it was not that great, to be honest. I think I gave this like a 4 out of 10, or on Goodreads a 2 out of 5 stars, like a very low 2. Yeah, not the greatest read, to be quite honest, but still alright. Low average. Another one which I was after for quite a while. I'm quite a sucker for the Doctor Who blue spines. I always love their covers, especially their rarity as well. So I was after this one for quite a while. The Web of Fear, which is just a gorgeous cover. That's a lovely cover. Don't have Fury from the Deep, but again, I have intentions of getting that one. Always been after that one. It's definitely top 3 Troughton stories for me. Gonna review it via the audio, as the animation I don't think did too much of it. But this is where the collection is at for me. This is it. I've tried so hard to keep it in pristine condition, and so far it's only the top bit that is damaged, but it's not even damaged, but you know, not going to waste any more time. The elephant in the room, the Wheel in Space, worth every penny, because I feel like people that get this for a cheap price get it for a cheap condition. So if you pay like a tenner for the Wheel in Space copy, you're just going to get a really bad copy overall. This is just incredible. And they've got the correct Cybermen, so this is definitely low-end entry for that favourite Target book cover list. Oh, it's just so magnificent to have this one in the collection. Because without it, the Troughton era would be not full. But yeah, I mean, I've pretty much destroyed most of Zoe's era. I believe, looking at my collection right now, I think I'm missing one story, which I want to get in blue spine form, which I'll get into in a sec. But yeah, The Wheel in Space. I want to read it as well, and they've recently just done a reprint of this and Evil of the Daleks, which look really nice. So this would be a great way for me to read it, because obviously I don't want to damage the its rare copy, which I don't see going down in rarity. People will probably say because, you know, probably because it's got a reprint, it's going to go down in value. There's no way this will ever go down in value. Unless someone just finds a bunch of them in a warehouse one day, but you know. So, kicking off season 6, my personal favourite Doctor Who season, with The Dominators, which was a really good read. I really liked this one. And it was the last Troughton story I had to watch to complete his era. Which was alright. I pretty much like all of the Troughton stories. There's not a single one I heavily dislike. This is probably my least favourite Troughton story. I will review it though at some point because I have only seen it once. But I didn't mind it actually. I quite like the Quarks. The Quarks look quite cool. I like the final episode, episode 5. Episode 5 is really good. But yeah, The Dominators as a book is pretty good. Really like that one. Another Ian Marter one here. I'm trying to collect all of the Ian Marter ones, especially all of the 1960s ones. I need to update my knowledge on all of the ones he did because I'm a big fan of his writing. So yeah, The Invasion. Cracking target book, and I have intentions of reviewing the TV story as well. Brilliant. There's a really good moment actually in this book, which, you know, he back in the day you could get away with stuff like this. There's a scene where Packer calls the professor a bastard, I think. Oh no, he calls the doctor a bastard, I think, which is, you know, and it's quite graphic as well. Yeah, really good one. Not my favourite Ian Marter book so far. So far, that belongs to The Rescue. Really big fan of The Rescue. If you want me to review any of these targets in there, just in their normal form, let me know in the comments down below. I'll be happy to. I'm after the Blue Spine as well, but it's incredibly rare. Incredibly rare. I'll make a video as well about my most wanted Doctor Who books. The Crotons. Happy to have this one in Blue Spine form. I mean, I wanted it in Blue Spine form. Can I make this more? Yeah, there we go. I wanted this one in Blue Spine form. It was a choice, and I'm glad I had it. It's not that rare. Read it, and it's a cracking target, to be fair. Again, this is another really underrated one. I really do like the Crotons. And getting caught up here on its next story, we have the Seeds of Death. Now, the only story I'm missing from season 6 is the Mind Robber, which I'm trying to get currently in its Blue Spine form. There's only one copy that's available right now that I've seen, and it's in poor condition. Good price, but it's in poor condition. Much like what I was saying about the Wheel in Space. If you get a cheap copy, you're going to get cheap condition, and I don't want that. I want good condition for what I pay for. Unless it is just cheap and it's in good condition, but you know, it's not. So yeah, I'm currently after that one because season 6, believe it or not, is my favourite Doctor Who season. And the Seeds of Death is one of my favourite Troughton stories. Cracking story. God, this one is amazing. And this target book was incredibly hard to track down. So yeah, really nice to have this one. I read it as well. Bloody fantastic novel. That's a brilliant novel. Yeah, really good. Now this next one is possibly in my old channel. This was a running theme of me constantly trying to give this story reappraisal. It is my favourite Doctor Who story ever. The Space Pirates. The most underrated Doctor Who story ever. My favourite Doctor Who story ever. The best one in my opinion. Oh, just brilliant. I need to make a video about the Space Pirates because I never did, but an anniversary video for its what year are we in? So next year, because this story was broadcasted in 1969, so next year I'd have to make an anniversary video for this. I just love it so much. The target book is probably my favourite. I mean, I'm biased because the Space Pirates is my favourite Doctor Who story, but it was a brilliant target book. Highly recommend this one. This one was, along with the Smugglers, sort of like the first rare books that I got in my collection. I was so happy with this. And I really hope they recover it. At least one episode, because episode 2 is the worst episode out of the 6. It's a good episode, but it's the worst episode out of the 6. We need at least episode 1, or when they go into the caves, so that's what, episode 3 and beyond. Yeah, love the Space Pirates. Got some interesting stories, like personal stories, to go into that one as well. And to round off Troughton's era, we have the War Games, which again I acquired in Blue Spine form. Gotta give this one a read because it is thin as hell, so I'll be interested to see what Malcolm Hawke cut from it, because I love everything about the War Games. Bit of a change of setup here, just running out of space on the shelf. So we've got, going into the Jon Pertwee era in the 1970s, we've got Doctor Who and the Auton Invasion, which is Spearhead from Space. Another copy here, Doctor Who and the Auton Invasion, which is a very intimidating cover there. Inferno with a very faded out spine, but again, one of my favourite reads. Doctor Who and the Daemons with my favourite cover version, except for the blue spine, which I'm trying to hunt down. Curse of Peladon, another blue spine there. Pretty good copy here of Doctor Who and the Sea Devils. Doctor Who and the Mutants. I just don't like this. I don't like this book. The TV story itself is really underrated. I love the Mutants, but this read was just awful. Quite a hard Pertwee one here, Doctor Who the Time Monster, which I eventually did track down in the charity shop, which is actually quite hard, if I'm right on that, to track down, at least for me. Carnival of Monsters, Doctor Who and the Space War, which is Frontier in Space, which is the beginning of this sort of 12-parter, as I like to call it, with Doctor Who and the Planet of the Daleks, with a really good cover actually. I like that cover a lot. Green Death, Blue Spine of the Time Warrior, which introduces Sarah Jane Smith. Invasion of the Dinosaurs, Blue Spine, with a really nice cover actually. This is again another one of my favourite covers. Particularly wanted this edition. I'm very happy to track that down for a good price. Death to the Daleks, another one of my favourite covers there. Giant Robot, and a second copy here in good condition, the Blue Spine, which is absolutely amazing. I really wanted this edition, and again I found it in the Doctor Who magazine on this website for like a £5. Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. That's such a good cover. Another Blue Spine here of Doctor Who, The Ark in Space. 2 copies here of Revenge of the Cybermen. A rather short copy here, as you can see. I don't know why they did that, of The Brain of Morbius. Another one which was quite hard to track down for me, The Pyramids of Mars, or at least in this edition. Just a really good one, and this was sort of like a sort of running theme here. You sort of got Tom Baker's head just floating on all these covers. I think it was like that in Revenge of the Cybermen you had that. And Brain of Morbius. Where to go to? A Blue Spine of The Mask of Mandragora, with a non-floating head of Tom Baker actually. Face of Evil, which was an alright read. Got quite bored, I think, after the first half. Can't say the same though for the Robots of Death. God, this one was I think this took me like almost exactly an hour to read this. This was amazing. This is again probably up there with Space Pirates as my favourite Doctor Who book. Not story, but book. Sunmakers, which was again a pretty good read. Underworld, which was amazing. I will defend that story till I die. And And on the end here, closing off season 16 with, again, another one which took me quite a while to track down, The Invasion of Time, which is, again, one of my favourites. And that's the first shelf there. Pop down to the second and final row. So, moving on to the second and final row, we jump into season 16 with the only book I have from the Key to Time, and the only one which I was really after, The Stones of Blood, which is one of my favourite Doctor Who stories. Actually, I have fond memories of watching this one and being totally creeped out by the Ogre, the moving stones in the story, and it was a really good read as well. I love that one a lot. Warrior's Gate, which, oh god, I can't. I watched this story once and I couldn't get into it, so a rewatch is in order. I thought the book would help, to be honest. I thought John Lydecker would fix the problems the TV story had. Nope, didn't solve a thing. And Logopolis, which is one of my personal favourite Tom Baker stories, but believe it or not, a pretty boring read, and I'm not surprised, to be honest, because the stuff on Logopolis in episodes 2 and 3, you know, on paper, I can imagine it being boring, and this is a true testament of that theory, to be honest. Now, this is when sort of my collecting for the 1980s sort of drops. I actually don't have too many books from the 1980s, so that's the 5th, 6th and 7th Doctor. But still, I have a few, and I have read most of them, so... Time Flight. That's all I've got to say. TV story is not even... I mean, it's not... I quite like Time Flight as a story. I actually think Time Flight's pretty decent. I don't really hate too many Doctor Who stories, and Time Flight isn't one of them. Time Flight actually might even creep into the top 10 Peter Davison stories, but this bloody book, Peter Grimwade, what were you doing, mate? He actually, and I remember there was only one page in this bloody book that I liked, page 60. If I can try and find it. Page bloody 60. Here it is, page 60, the only part of this, if I can even call it novel, that I sort of liked. I really was not a fan of this book. Probably my least favourite book in my collection in terms of the read. Yeah, Time Flight was a time waster, to be honest, or time shite. On the plus note, Terminus by John Lydecker was a pretty good read. I actually did like Terminus a lot. I haven't seen the TV story, kind of dreading to. Haven't heard too many good things about it, to be honest. But the read itself, pretty good. I thought it was pretty good. The Awakening. Ooh, a lovely sort of, maybe not rare, but one that took me quite a while to track down. The Five Doctors by Terrance Dicks, which had a lovely shiny cover. Yeah, would like to read this one. I re-watched The Five Doctors a couple of weeks ago. Oh, it's brilliant. I do love The Five Doctors. Such a good story. Plans actually inspired me to do my own sort of version, The Six Doctors, so which I've already started making the artwork for, so stay tuned for that whenever that new Revenge of the Cybermen set comes out. So spoiler alert of what the main protagonist might be. And here I have 2 copies of Warriors of the Deep. So we've got that normal version, and we got here a version which I love. This blue spine, incredible cover, and I've got to say at some point or other before I get people with pitchforks outside my house, Warriors of the Deep is such a good story. I love this story so much. I don't care what anyone says. The only thing I don't like about it is probably the thing that you probably expect me to hate about the story, and that's the Murka. If the Murka was somehow, like, I don't know, it would be a big production, but if it was like sort of
CGI'd for a Blu-ray release, and if they even cut the Merca out, this story would be almost perfection, because the Merca is shaped. The head of the Merca is actually fine. Its little dinosaur arms suits the idea that they're reptilians. They're 56 million year old reptilians, but not the bloody lower half. And it was shining in the overlit production. But the Silurians, I mean, I love these Silurians so much. They are my favourite design of the Silurians. Fifth Doctor's in top form, and I love this Blue Spine, and I love the book. Terrance Dicks did a brilliant job, and I'm going to reread it and rewatch it as well. That is how much I love War is the Deep. I will defend that one until I die. Really good one. Planet of Fire with, I think someone pointed this out, quite an obscure cover, because it's called Planet of Fire and yet it's Planet of Water, as the cover suggests. And the Caves of Androzani, which I need to finish because I started watching this ages ago, and I think I missed out on the fourth part, so I only watched the first 3 parts. Certainly not the best Doctor Who story ever. Bloody hell, would not go that far. But I like really one of the best Peter Davison ones. But the Blue Spine would be in order. As soon as I watch the TV story, I'll definitely read this. And going into the only 2 Colin Baker books I have of the same story, we have The Twin Dilemma, which I did watch, actually, and I remember quite liking it, actually. I think I quite like The Twin Dilemma. Again, rewatches in order. I have seen certain clips since. It's not that bad. Twin Dilemma, quite like it, actually. And jumping into Sylvester McCoy's era, we have Time and the Rani in Blue Spine form, which is a pretty good cover, actually. I quite like this one. Although I have seen the paperback, I've seen the first edition with like the bats and all of that, go for absolutely absurd amounts of money. So yeah, but I didn't pay an absurd amount of money for this. This was a good cover. Quite a rare one here as well. Apparently, it's quite hard to track down. Remembrance of the Daleks, which is again a really nice cover and a really good Doctor Who story. Remembrance of the Daleks. I really love that one. Gotta read the book. Another personal favourite here. God, I do find a lot of the 80s stories underrated. Silver Nemesis, which is again one of my personal favourite 1980 stories and one of my favourite Cybermen stories. I mean, I do rather like Silver Nemesis. There you go, his gun is on the floor, but yeah, Cyber Leader and all. Yeah, I really like Silver Nemesis. And I've got to get around to reading this one. This is a cracking novel. Well, I'd imagine it's so. It's Kevin Clark is the writer of the story. And to round it all up, I have the penultimate story of Classic Who, The Curse of Fenric. Bit of a theme here, as regards to covers, the Silver Nemesis one and the Curse of Fenric having the no-no symbol. Yeah, I like the first 3 parts definitely, but I didn't really get the 4th part, so I rewatch it as in order for Curse of Fenric. And while that rounds off the paperbacks, I do in fact actually have something quite special, which is possibly, definitely much more rarer than my Wheaton Space book, and I'm going to show you right now what it is. Now, this is definitely something I used to glaze on my other channel, something which I'm very happy to have, and at the time, didn't even know it was rare until I watched a TJ Productions Ultimate
collection video, and I am very pleased to say that I own a one of a kind in my collection. It is an ex-library, an Alan Wingate hardback of Doctor Who and the Dalek Invasion of Earth, and to show that I'm not, taking the mick, it's inside, ex-library, it's hardback. No point having a fake one, otherwise I'd have fake ones of all of the bloody Target books. I'd have like fake Wheel in Space if I really wanted to. But yeah, incredible book to own. Like I said, it's one of a kind, and I have never seen this on eBay or anywhere other than the shop, and I got this for £7. So yeah, which is a pretty amazing price, to be honest, considering this if you can't even get this online, I can't imagine how much this would go for when eventually it does pop up. But yeah, it's the spine. Really happy to have this. Alan Wingate, there you go. Definitely the rarest thing in my entire Doctor Who collection, and anything I own, to be honest. It's such a rare piece of Doctor Who to own, and I'm very happy to have it. Not quite done just yet. I've still got quite a few more things to go, but so here I've actually got a few of these Doctor Who New Adventures, which I was gonna start getting into, but I fortunately only required 3. But that's not a bad thing. I am gonna start around getting into them at some point. I do apologise, I don't know what order they're going in, but here I've got Time Worm Apocalypse by Nigel Robinson. A really chunky one here. Disiet, that I have absolutely no idea to pronounce that, so sorry if I botched that. By Peter Dalville Evans. And Nightshade by Mark Gatiss, which looks pretty interesting. And the final paperback here, we have a rather shiny 2-in-1 Mythmakers and the Gunfighters, which I only have because I saw it in a shop. I thought it'd be cool to have, but yes, I don't actually have at the moment the 2 of those Target books, but I do need to get them as I'm trying to complete most of the 60s right now. And we have just here the new hardback of Evil of the Daleks, which was made quite a while ago, which I'm going to read at some point. Shada by Gareth Roberts, which I've heard is very good. And here, quite an interesting piece to have, which I've read numerous times, Doctor Who, The Scripts, season 12, which was at one point in my Doctor Who fan career my favourite season, as it contained Genesis of the Daleks and Revenge of the Cybermen and the Ark in Space, 3 of my stories which I've watched non-stop, and I read the Revenge of the Cybermen script to death. So yeah, and that rounds off the book collection. So yes, as I said, perhaps not the biggest collection compared to other people on other Doctor Who YouTubers, but I am currently getting back into Doctor Who, and the Target books is always a great way to sort of fulfill that that need to get back into it. So yeah, really nice collection I have at the moment, and thank you so much for watching this video. Stay tuned for more videos. Let me know in the comments down below any videos you want me to go through, if there's any Target book you want me to review or read and then review, just let me know in the comments down below. And thank you for watching this video, and until next time, I'll see you on the next one. So goodbye.